All right, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh Juice, an indie game podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tommy Fresh, and joined as always, it is
Maddie Juice. What's going on, everybody? Episode 110. There we go.
Woo.
And we got a little special episode for you folks because we're giving you a true first look at a new indie game that is launching
Ooh.
tomorrow if you're listening to this on the day that the episode comes out. So look at that, a little early preview. Look at us, Tommy. What's
Yeah.
that game? What's on the menu?
The game that we have today that we'll be talking about is Night Swarm, developed by Fubu Games, published by Mad Mushroom and Gamer Sky Games, and it is releasing on December 4th at I guess the retail price is $9.99. I'm not sure if there'll be a sale, but we'll be talking more about it as we get to review it. Just a side note, it is developed by the same developer that did Rogue Loops, which was a game that we enjoyed, and then also published by Mad Mushroom, who I believe also published Hell Clock, which is another game that we had a good time with. So very, very excited to talk about this game. It's pretty neat. But before we do all that, what's new? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good overall. Baby's been a little fussy, so that's just been a new kind of challenge for us. And just kind of, especially yesterday, it was just like it was tough yesterday. She just could not be consoled, but had a nice little break from work, had Thanksgiving, took a half day on Wednesday, so went to the family football game, which was good. Then Thanksgiving, which was a good time, and then watch the Eagles lose. I'm just going through every day. And then on Saturday we had Friendsgiving, which was fun. Had a good time with that. And then, honestly, just been like working on different pieces of content, been like trying to script out things, preparing for upcoming games, all that sort of stuff. So it's been pretty busy over here. While I've not been working, I feel like I've still been really busy, which is, not used to that. Usually when I'm not working, there's like a little downtime, but it's been pretty busy, for me. But, yeah, that's everything from my side. What about you, Tom? I've been playing a little Pokemon Lazarus as well. I
Yeah.
started that. I'm at the first gym right now, which is cool. And I've got a Quaxley is my starter. So
Oh, you went with Quaxley. I went with
yeah,
Chespin.
yeah. I just liked, it's like a duck with like this like funny Elvis haircut kind of thing. I was like, I'm going with Quaxley here. I always tend to go with the water types anyway, but yeah, that's been fun, playing that. I haven't really like gotten into like an emulated game in a while on my phone, so it feels good to be like, you know, playing like a Game Boy style game, on my phone on the go. But yeah, that's been the recap for me. What about you, Tommy? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I've also been playing some Pokemon Lazarus. Actually, funny enough, speaking of emulated games, I have to look into it, but I saw somebody post about a Pokemon emulated game that uses the like combat mechanics of Fire Emblem instead.
Hmm.
Which I love Fire Emblem and I love Pokemon, so I'll have to look into what that is. But I've had a busy week, doing house projects. Slowly, we're getting there, slowly but surely. But also did Thanksgiving, went to Lady Fresh's parents' house. That
Yeah.
was cool. Did the football game as well with you. Friday, we went to a wedding down in Philadelphia, and that was cool. It was a bud. Shout out to Gary who got married to um, longtime partner Paige. Got to hang out with him, and then also got to hang out with another bud, Junior, who is Gary's mailman, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
We talked about Tron, and just like how awesome the Tron Legacy album was, the soundtrack by Daft Punk. Still gotta dive into the new soundtrack from the new Tron, which I think was done by Trent Reznor, who I do love. But
The
that
Neutron.
was, yeah, Tron
The
Legacy.
the
No,
Neutron. The
Jimmy Neutron.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
How about that? Um, but yeah, what else? And then like Sunday was just doing stuff, like being
Yeah.
productive, and then I went out to Hershey today, and I'm back, and I'm
Yeah.
ready to talk about some video games,
Now,
and
did you pick up any good deals? Because obviously there's a lot of deals this time of year. Anything in particular game related, maybe not game related? Anything jump out at you?
I got a mesh network
Hmm.
for the house, which we had talked about, and you said you had one, and it's been working great. I'm streaming from it right now, and it seems to be going well.
Nice.
It'd be kind of funny if like you're just
Yeah.
like nodding, and I'm just like blocky pixels on your end. It seems to be going great, and
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
whatever you say.
Sure. Tom, is that
But
you?
but yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really need anything right now, and I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe eventually I'll need a new PC, but this one's still working, and I don't really run a lot of games that are like super, heavy on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I could always replace the graphics card if that comes to be an issue. But so far, so good.
Yeah.
This
Knock
it
on
is
wood.
a 4-year-old PC,
Yeah. She's still
which I
good.
think, yeah. I don't know. I don't. This is my first like big PC. I've had like laptops before this.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm a firm
Um.
believer that like all the new graphics cards and stuff that are coming out, there aren't even like games to support their potential yet. Really.
Mhm.
Maybe just a small handful. Cause I'm using a card that's like probably 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. It's still running all the games I play like perfectly fine. Like best quality. Yeah, everything's good. So yeah, that's good. It's good holding on to
Yeah.
that. Um I picked up
But
a few things. Oh,
yeah, what'd
sorry.
you grab?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, one thing is because I got a new phone recently, and it has like that feature that the iPhones have, where it's like MagSafe. So like you can
Oh yeah.
have like the little magnet. So I bought this little like it's like an external battery. It just like attaches to the back of my phone, gives it a little charge. Figure that might be good for packs. Something like that. Just stick it right on there.
A
So
battery pack for packs.
there you go.
Oh.
There it is. It's actually called Juice Box too. So I just like the name. But I just think it's funny. It's like growing up, they're like, don't put magnets near your phones. And then now, or near anything, right? I remember
Yeah.
putting it on like a TV and just watching all the colors. And now it's like totally fine. So, but I had to buy a bunch of stuff for the house. We got like some blackout curtains, new toilet seat. That's like the soft close one. So, because I kept
Mm.
slamming the toilet seat, new faucet for the kitchen, stuff like that. Trying to think if there was anything really fun that I ended up
Oh,
getting.
I bought a ladder. I didn't even think about it. I mean, I was just like, I
Ah,
had to go buy some stuff for the house,
yeah.
like a shovel and a ladder, and they were on sale. But I wasn't even. It was like I didn't even think about it being because of the season. I was just like, oh, nice,
Yeah.
it's on sale.
What timing? I mean, how lucky am
Yeah,
I?
how
You
lucky am
know?
I? Yeah.
um, yeah, no, that's good. That's good because you told that story about the rickety ladder that you had to use. So
Yes.
now,
Yes.
you're safe. Oh, I bought a new Christmas tree stand too because
Ooh.
we got a Christmas tree on Friday, put it in the stand. It was a plastic stand and it broke. Um, So I looked up on Reddit. There's like a buy it for life subreddit where people recommend stuff that'll like last forever. And there's like this German engineered like Christmas tree stand that I don't even think it was on sale. It might have been on like a small sale, but I just bought it. And like I put my tree up, Tom, not even joking, 15 seconds. Took me 50. I just put it in, crank it up, and it's in
Nice.
there. Yeah, so that is always a pain for me, like trying to get the tree in the stand, and we always get like the real tree or whatever.
Mm.
Um, so that was a good purchase. I'm happy about that. But
All right. Cool.
in terms of the gaming front, I don't think I actually got anything that was on sale. Um, I'm
I
trying to
mean,
remember.
I got the
Moonlighter 2.
game. Yeah, I got the game that I was going to be in my rec room but I think it was just on sale anyway. It's just like that's the thing with Steam is like there's always sales. It doesn't feel like special.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
sale going on right now for a bunch of games because I was just checking some out. And I guess it started today because I was looking at these games earlier and they weren't on sale. And I think the winter sale's coming, so just another reason the Steam machine's going to take over. Let's talk about that for another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I mean, so yeah, the Christmas tree thing, we do the fake tree. I don't think. Well, first of all, Lady Fresh is a little bit of a Grinch. I don't even know if we'll put up a tree this year. She's trying to steal Christmas, I
oh
think.
my God,
We had
wow.
conversations in the car. I was like, Charlie Brown Christmas came on my iPhone, and she's like, and I'm like, it is after Thanksgiving, just so you know.
Yeah,
And she said, bah humbug, and I said, wow,
wow.
who did I marry? I'm not even the biggest Christmas guy, but
Yeah, but
tis the season.
tis the season. I'm not gonna be listening to Christmas music every day, but
Yeah,
I enjoy the vibes. I guess I should say. Yeah,
I do admittedly will listen to Vince Guaraldi's like album throughout the year, right?
yeah,
The Charlie Brown Christmas, I think
yeah. I mean,
that's whatever. It pops
it's
on, you're
great.
like, oh man, but like you just end up listening to the whole thing. You're like, oh, you know what? I can't wait for it to be Christmas when it's July or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, we got news, huge news. We got a Discord, folks.
Oh,
Hop in it. It's in the show notes below or to the side. Remember when? Yeah, I think I brought this up before. Remember when YouTube descriptions were on the side
yeah.
of the video? How about
I
that?
do.
That's
Crazy.
ancient history. But it's in the show notes below. It's a great way to interact with us and submit listener questions, which we have a few this week. We'll get to those after the review. Now, some notable releases this week. Got to give a shout out to Maddie with the idea of starting to throw some updates in our notable releases from games that we reviewed. And Cast and Chill had a winter update. This is a game that we really loved. And to be honest, actually, so a buddy of mine was like really sick, like, just like had like the flu or whatever, and knows I do this podcast and said, hey, any games for somebody just like bedridden right now that's just like I can play on the Steam Deck or whatever. I'm like, have you played Cast and Chill? And like 20
Yeah.
minutes later, it's like that was the perfect game for my situation. So this is such a beautiful game, and
Mhm.
a winter update is probably pretty welcome here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, perfect timing, obviously, with the winter update here. And obviously a new little kind of biome for you to go into, some new gear, new companion. You got a Saint Bernard now, which is cool.
Mm.
And it also looks like they are doing a DLC in the future. So I guess this will be a paid DLC because they're asking you to wish list it, but called Eastern Winds, which seems kind of cool. It's kind of cherry blossom sort of theme. I guess maybe like Japan sort of vibes. So that's also pretty cool as well. And then it says they also have another free update coming soon before the holidays. So they are just pumping them out here for Cast and Chill, which is awesome to see. And I'll have to hop back in and check it out. But yeah, want to start doing this a little bit more often, especially for those games we loved, to just highlight some of their major updates that they have coming out. But shout out Cast and Chill. Lake Hunker Down is the name of the winter update there. And I'll put a little bit of it in the background. But are you going to be checking this out, Tommy?
Yeah, I think if there's some downtime on the Steam Deck coming up, this seems like a nice little chill. Especially we're gonna be getting, well, at least over by me, we're getting snow tomorrow morning, so maybe that'd be nice, right?
There you go.
Kind of take a moment before I go shovel. I'm like, you know what? Maybe let me see if the fish are biting first.
Yeah. Do a little ice fishing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about ice fishing? Would you do it?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I
Oh, yeah.
love like frosty, cold activities, and ice fishing seems like a kind of fun one. You're just like in that like tent thing. You're just like frozen. There's a hint of danger to it,
Yeah.
right? Like things could go really wrong. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think it seems cool. So, yeah, looking forward to this. Checking it out. What else we got on the menu there?
On the menu, I saw that this game just came out today as we're recording called Wild Growth. It's a casual kind of clicker incremental game that, looks really cool, right? I think like that is kind of what drew me to it. It's on sale right now for under $5, and you know, I think it seems like we played a lot of these kind of incremental games like Tower Wizard and Magic Archery. This one actually looks like a little bit more, you know, uh, inventive, I guess. Like where
Yeah.
there's some cool things going on. So just figured I'd give that a shout out because it does look kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, art style looks really cool. So far as this kind of like neon, you know, what would you call this? I don't know, cyberpunky kind of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. I'll have to check it out. It's got positive ratings so far, so curious to see, you know, I feel like incremental games is very interesting to read some of the reviews, because
Yeah.
how much could you really critique other than like if people are complaining about it maybe takes too long to get certain upgrades, something like that. But there's a demo, so I'll probably try out the demo, and if I like it, end up picking it up. Because I played a little bit of the Norp Apolog last week. I've been enjoying the clicker games. Kind of playing one on my phone right now that I talked about I think a few weeks ago. So yeah, Wild Growth looks pretty sick. Looks pretty sick. It's also one of those games where like the logo actually matches what the game looks like, you know?
Yeah.
It's not some like crazy different art up here. So that's cool too. I actually, without even looking at the gameplay, for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, this is like Geometry Wars.
Yeah.
It's kind of got like at least it's got like the contrast with the art, similar, where we're kind of being very vibrant, with a lot of the coloring. So yeah, I have to check it out. Wild Growth. Good call on this one, Tommy. When did this come out? This out came out today.
Today.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at that. Wow.
Um Next one, this one came out like a week ago, about a week ago, but I didn't see it. But I was watching a video today of someone playing this, and I was like, this looks really, really cool. This is Monsters Are Coming, Rockin' Road. Basically, it looks like it's kind of almost like a bullet hell survivor like, but also you have your character that you're running around like auto shooting, and then there is a uh, kind of base or like castle that's on wheels that's
Yeah.
moving down.
This is
Like,
like Vampire Survivors meets like Nine Kings. That's what it reminds me of.
yeah.
Yeah.
With like a little bit of ball X pit going on too,
Yeah.
like with like because it's scrolling down as well. It looks really cool. I mean, it's got mostly positive reviews, over 1,000 reviews. So I guess that's probably a good sign, and probably a good sign that things could like improve. I got it. I ended up buying it because it was bundled with like Ball X Pit actually, and it was like $7. So I'll be
Yeah.
checking it out at some point. I just thought that's a pretty fun concept. Mess around with some tower defense stuff while you're running around attacking things.
Yeah. No, this looks awesome. Love the art style here. I'm probably gonna pick this one up as well. I see I'm not logged in right here on Steam, so it's
Mm-hmm.
showing with Ball X Pit, it's like $20, 4% off. But yeah, I imagine it'll be like that $7 mark. I think it's really funny to see like, oh, 3% off if I bundle with like this one.
Yeah.
Just like what a deal. But yeah, this looks really cool. Um, Monsters, I'm not in love with the name. I feel like they should have just cut it off at like Monsters Are Coming, but maybe there's another Monsters Are Coming. This is a
Yeah,
different.
I don't understand the name either because I looked. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
don't have another one.
like maybe it should have just been called Rock and Road. I think that's kind of cool too.
Yeah,
But Hey, listen, more power to them.
Yeah.
It seems cool.
And published by Raw Fury. They've published a lot of games. Billionaire, one of them, Cassette Beast,
Hmm.
Dome Keeper. That's probably why there's. I guess maybe they publish. No, they didn't publish Ball X Pit, but that's probably why there's a deal for the bundle with Dome Keeper. Also, just something else I learned recently, and hopefully this is accurate, because I actually didn't fact check it, but it seemed like it would be the case. Is that when things are on sale on Steam, that is determined by the publishers, not the developers aren't involved with that at all. I
Oh,
guess unless they
interesting.
self-publish, then obviously they can control that. Um, so that's why you see so many like publisher sales on Steam, is because that's who controls those deals.
Ah,
And I guess that's also why certain things are bundled the way they are, is because of the publisher. But yeah, cool game, cool game.
y-
What else? What
yeah.
else you got? There was something else in there, right? That you
So
put in.
something that comes out tomorrow from us recording today was this Scrabdackle. This looks insane. This is like a hand drawn Souls like apparently. I don't know what to make of it, but I took one look at this. I'm like, this is interesting, and I guess it's going to be launching in early access, I believe. Like it's only going to have the first act,
Yeah,
perhaps, but looks like a wild game. I mean, like really cool art style, right? Like I think when we talked about it before the show, you were like, it looks like it was just drawn in MS Paint, which is hilarious. But this like has the look of a game that could end up being a little bit of a cult classic. So I kind of wanted to keep my eyes on this one because it looks so weird.
yeah. It's got a lot going on for it. Like just watching the gameplay here, it's like, all right, there's some cutscenes, there's some adventuring going on. It seems like you get there's dialogue, there's like inventory management, you're like going through journals, and then there's like, yeah, these kind of like souls likey sort of battles that you kind of get into. There just seems like there's so much going on here. Um, I'm intrigued for sure. I think what I could see this game having a cult following, but I'm curious what the price will end up being. Hopefully, it's not too much. I feel like early access, only one act. They said about 15 hours of content. I'm hoping
Hmm.
it's like in the $10 to $20 range, like max.
Yeah.
Um, but I also it looks like there's a lot of care that's already been put into it. But yes, grab that. I mean, great name. I'm
Yeah.
on board with this one for sure. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. Um,
Yeah. Looking
yeah,
at the kind of like roadmap here, I think if you could scroll down, it says it comes with the first act, 12 to 15 hours playtime, 9 bosses, 10 regions, 122 journal entries, 36 music tracks, and more. And then the second act will be a bit later, about as much as Act One, and then the third act will come double later, as I said.
I,
The same again, and
I love the
those will be
descriptions.
free updates. So that's good to know that like if you hop in on this game and hopefully it goes the distance that
Yeah,
it will be um, a banger.
and this just the description here, I get like local thunk vibes from this, right? Of like it's coming a
Yeah,
bit later, and then that one's gonna be double later, and it's the same again. It's just gonna be as much stuff as the first act. I don't know what's in it yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, it looks really cool. Good find here, Tom. It could be an indie gem we have in our hands.
When I saw it, I felt like the meme of the Wolf on Wall Street, where it's like something just came across my desk. Like
Yeah,
it might just like it could just
yeah,
be terrible, but
yeah,
like, but we'll
yeah.
see. This could be the penny stocks of indie games, or it could be, Amazon. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could be, I think this might be a solo dev just because it's kind of like a
Yeah,
game by Jake Friend, kind of, I imagine it just sounds like a solo dev. So really impressive if this is a solo dev, just from looking at the trailer. Um, yeah, Scrabdackle, baby.
yeah, you got that right. Be looking at that one, you know. And that one would be kind of one to kind of watch and then maybe do if they ever do Act 3 and like a 1.0 release, that would be probably where worth reviewing at that point. But
Yeah.
speaking of worth reviewing, let's talk about Night Swarm, the game for the
Oh.
week, which, as I said earlier, developed by Fubu Games, who did Rogue Loops, published by Mad Mushroom and Gamer Sky Games. Price is $9.99. Releases on December 4th. Claim your throne as a vampire lord in the survivor like. Each run is another step on your journey with new followers, quests, and skills to unlock. The night is yours to conquer. So, what is this game? Well, it is basically a huge expansion, I think, on the survivor like genre, right?
Yeah.
You hop in, you're this main character, Roderick, I think, like Roderick Rules from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I never even watched that. I just, I just, Lady Fresh says it all the time. So, but I just like, I saw Roderick and I was like, oh, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, a book series I didn't read and movie series I did not watch. But anyway, so you're Roderick and you kind of like come to life or whatever, come out of your casket.
Yeah.
Casket?
Tomb?
That's
Casket?
yeah, your tomb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Something like that.
In this mansion, and then there's all these like NPCs that you can talk to in the mansion, and basically they're like, okay, here's some like specific quests you can do, and you're gonna go into this world where you gotta beat the first area first to get to the other areas, and each area is like a Slay the Spire style map, right? And there'll be different kinds of directions you can go to, like, get certain things. You always start off by trying to find a companion for you to run around with. Companions, there are multiple different kinds that you can get. They're all, more of this kind of gothic theme, whether it's like a plague doctor or like looks like Man Bat from Batman, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a familiar gameplay loop where you're running around and you're auto shooting, and every time you kill something, you can get experience points to then level up and get another choice of 3 things to either add to your arsenal or increase the level of something that exists. Something we've seen many times before. And one little bit different thing, it's not like endless, right? Each level you have X amount of time, and basically you're kind of running around just like trying to collect as much stuff as possible. And sometimes there's like mini quests, like there's in the early game there's a room or whatever, like a level you can go into where you got to collect dice and then bring it to the gambler's grave, and the gambler's grave will give you extra re-rolls on your abilities that you unlock and stuff like that, right? I think where the gameplay really wins for me, as opposed to like some other survivor likes that we've played, is like really there's just so much to do and so much that you want to collect to like be able to unlock stuff, right? There's just so many unlockables and so many NPCs. There's weird cutscenes too. We'll talk about like the the art. It's good, and it's like, but it's also weird because if you're watching on the YouTube or the Spotify right now, you can see that rather than you just running around like normal, everybody is basically like a board game piece, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is kind of the gameplay loop. You know, the challenge is definitely there, and it can be a little repetitive, but it feels like every run has like its own flavor to it. So yeah, I enjoyed it, right? Like that's my one complaint sometimes with this genre of game is like, why am I doing any of this?
Yeah.
And I think that this game like gives you so much to like actually unlock that I was like pretty happy with it. Like there's new companions to unlock or even like upgrade, and then there's also like these blueprints that can give you like like these great buffs that you have to bring back to the blueprint guy and have him build it for you. And there's just so many different collectibles in this game that I just felt that this was kind of a huge win, and then also just some really good like kind of questing that's going on. So yeah, I enjoyed this gameplay.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just looking at like the gameplay before playing, you kind of make like assumptions, or at least I did, of all right, this is just another kind of survivor like. They explicitly say it's a survivor like in the description of the game. And it is like to a point, but what I really found that made it like different from the other ones I've played is the fact that you kind of have that like slay the spire, like, those paths you can follow, and then you have limited time with each one. So typically in like survivor likes, I feel like I not that I have endless time, but I kind of feel like I'm not rushed to kind of do anything. In this, since there is so much to collect, I always was like, all right, I need to make the most of like these 3 minutes I have or 5 minutes in these little levels. And it even gets to a point, or it doesn't get to a point, but the game itself knows there's a lot to collect because at the end of each level, you have your like collection phase that happens where all the enemies go away and you have like 10 seconds and you can move around really fast and you just collect as much as you can. So the game knows that it's giving you a lot to do with not enough time, basically. And I like that. I like that part of the gameplay loop because I don't know, there's times where I'm playing like Vampire Survivors and I'm just like, you're on minute like 23 and you're just like, all right, we're almost there. My build is just so powerful right now. Like I literally played it with our buddy Pat not long ago, and we got to a point where we could just stand there and all the enemies just started coming. We just kind of waited out the clock. This doesn't happen in that game because of the story elements, because of the way the limited time you get with each level. I really like that just alone by itself. I think that that sets it apart from the other survivor likes I've played. And then you have that companion system you mentioned, which is cool because it adds a little bit of variety. I was trying out different companions. You can upgrade them in different ways. I think that this brought a lot more to the table than I was anticipating. Because looking at it, I'm just like, all right, this is like a survivor like just with some like story elements. But it's a lot more than that. I agree. The board game piece thing. We'll talk about that in the art. It's a little weird, but it definitely didn't like take away from how I felt about the gameplay. It's something that you can end up ignoring at a certain point. It is interesting they made that choice, but I don't think it really takes away from what I enjoyed with the gameplay. You have a map, which is great. That kind of like it kind of leads you, and you can even see like on this gameplay here, which by the way is from the demo. Since the game isn't out yet, we found some demo gameplay that was on YouTube. So that's what we're showing you here, but like it points you in a certain direction. You have the map which shows like which areas haven't been discovered yet. There's like a magnifying glass in those areas, so you can go there, unlock the map for that area, and then you have like limited time to do all this. So you're really just trying to make the most of it. I found that like the different like kind of bosses that you'd come across were like fun to engage with. The different events that you can come across in the world were fun to engage with as well. The only thing that like from the gameplay standpoint that I think in the early game, and I've had this happen with other survivor likes, is I wish there was just more variety in like the power ups you can get. And I understand like you want to level up your power up, so it's okay to get the same one. But I kind of felt like I was like it was almost like a no-brainer at certain points where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just keep leveling this one up because I keep getting the same choices and I don't want those other options. So it just seems like there's not a lot in the pool, at least in the beginning. Um, and I would like a little bit more variety, because I like to try out different abilities. And I quickly kind of figured out, okay, this is the build I want to do. And it ended up being like, at least for me in the way I play, I really wanted to like optimize my movement speed. Because I just found it like you want to collect as many things as possible. So I'm like, oh, I want to move as fast as possible then, so I can go do that. And it ended up working out. Like I had a pretty good build. I had like my companion that like gives me a boost in movement speed. I just kept like leveling up my movement speed as well as I think actually the character on the screen has it right now. It's like a blood pool. It's almost like the garlic in Vampire
Hmm.
Survivors, right, where it damages enemies when they get close to you. I just kept building that up till it was like huge, and I had really fast movement speed, so I could literally just run around the map, and like everything would die, and I wouldn't really have to like touch them at all. So that was a lot of fun. Like I appreciated that, but also I felt like every run I did I was like, well, why wouldn't I just spec into that if it was like working for me really well? So I don't know, a little bit more variety in that like power up pool, I think would be great, at least in the beginning. But, yeah, this is a gameplay loop that kinda caught me by surprise. I didn't actually realize until maybe, like, the 3rd level that I had a time limit in these worlds, like a really short time limit. For some reason, I was like, "Oh," I was just treating it like another Survivor game. But this yeah, I appreciate the constraints, because it forces you to kinda be creative, and it forces you to really hit all those points of interest, and you're not just in vampire survivors a lot of the times I'm just going around killing enemies so I can level up. In this I felt like it was more about getting to all those points of interest and leveling up kind of along the way of everything that you're killing. So it kind of like flipped the script a little bit for me. And I enjoyed it. Yeah, with the gameplay, the different types of currency you can get. You mentioned all the different things you can level up. I think they did a really good job making a an interesting take on the survivor like genre, where it felt like every run um, was intense, and it kinda like almost like a bite-sized version of a Survivor, like, with every level. So, yeah, I liked it. I think that it was well executed, from the gameplay standpoint. So, yeah.
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 I mean, there was also one other thing I forgot to mention that I really liked was every level has these kind of like totems, these like places you can go to spend gold
Yeah.
to like get a power up, and each level has different levels of totems throughout. So like if you were just collecting some gold and you're like whatever, I'll just go to the common one, right? Like let's say they all have a rarity, and you're just like I don't want to save up money for a really good one. I just need an extra power up now. You can go do that, and then also you can just save up your gold throughout your run, like your multiple run through these levels, to be like, okay, I want to use it all on like these kind of legendary like rarity totems to get like really good power ups. And
Yeah.
I kind of like that like the main like currency for that is gold, right? And like gold is something that is for the run itself. You don't really bring it back. So like it's the main thing that they show in the map too, so you know where all the gold like modules or whatever
Yeah.
are throughout the map. So you're just like, okay, I can plan my run around this gold so that I can like really just focus on getting these really good upgrades, etc. I really like that. That was a kind of a neat thing that I don't know if I've seen in a ton of this genre, but
Yeah. No, definitely.
yeah.
I even found myself with the gameplay, uh, things don't seem to hit as hard in
Mm-hmm.
this. So it was a little bit more forgiving, which I appreciated because I mean, I feel like nothing would be more frustrating than like only having 3 minutes to maximize, all the different points of interest. And also the enemies hit really hard. I mean, there's certain enemies that will, but I found that like I could easily kind of traverse the world without having to worry. I kind of find that like in other survivor like games, it's typically like pretty hard. You don't want to get caught by a few enemies because all of a sudden you're like one hit away from death. There were many times I was like, I thought I was one hit away from death and I just kept living. It was pretty forgiving in that way as well. But yeah, I think they got a lot going on here with the gameplay.
Got that right. Now, in terms of story, this one actually has stories. Like a lot of, as I said earlier, a lot of NPCs. You know, your character has like good voice acting and stuff like that, which kind of goes into the sound and stuff. But
Hmm.
there is just so many different kinds of characters you can actually interact with and like have like quests given to you, or like, hey, I need you to go do this. Is it like a deep story? No, but like for this kind of game, it has more of a world built than normal.
Yeah.
And you know, you kind of have these existing relationships that your character has with these people that you find out in the world to to bring back to the hub, which is your like mansion or whatever, which you're just trying to like rebuild basically. And that is good. I mean, it's like whatever. I didn't really care about the story, but I was like, okay, at least I know the general gist of what's going on and why I'm going out and like trying to like collect things, right?
Yeah.
I don't need a lot in these style of games, but just a little bit to like make it like not so mindless, which I think this is what this game has done so well, was that it wasn't mindless. Even in the gameplay, you're very strategic, as we were talking about, because you only have X amount of time, but also like there's a real reason as to why you're messing around with everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I think they do a good job of like incentivizing you to like continue like doing your runs like just from a story standpoint, right? Of like finding certain items so you can unlock certain things back at the main hub. I think that there's also like that in kind of inherent sort of story that you kind of I feel like you get with a lot of these like vampire kind of games. Um but yeah, I think, even some of the characters you come across that are part of quests in these different levels, like it'll actually stop the game so you can talk to them. So it's almost like a gameplay mechanic where like sometimes I was like, all right, there's a lot going on right now. I'm gonna go talk to this guy because I know it's gonna stop and it gives me like a little breather. And then they ask you to get a certain item. You got to go get it, bring it back to them. So I think they do a good job of integrating the story within the levels and then also outside the levels as well. But again, like you mentioned, I don't really look for like a lot of story. I'm not looking for like too much with these games when it comes to story. So everything was kind of a pleasant surprise, for me with the story stuff in the game. So I think it was well done.
Yeah, for sure. And visually, we already kind of hinted at it. This
Yeah.
is like it's a good looking game. Some interesting choices, I think I would say, and that being the most obvious, and maybe what sets this apart, right? Like that people might be kind of intrigued. Hopefully, is that the every character is like a board game piece, as we said earlier. I don't hate it. At first, I was like, "What's going on? Am I just going to be the board game piece?" And then I was like, "Oh, everything is."
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if I gathered why that is. If it's just a style choice, but because everything else is like really well rendered, and the character design's really cool. So it's an interesting choice. I don't hate it, but um, yeah, I think for the most part, though, everything does look really cool. The abilities look cool. And, I don't think this is a game that is like stunning me per
Hmm.
se with its visuals, but I think it's doing a fine time. Like
Yeah.
it's 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 not like doing the bare minimum. It's a well crafted visual experience. It's just not like wowing me. And like
Yeah.
the board game piece thing is interesting. I wish maybe I don't know if I missed it. I wish there was maybe at least a story element that is a reason that you're like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, it must be just a stylistic choice. But I like the menus for the most part. Sometimes the tutorial menu would be more confusing than the actual menu, which I would just skip through the tutorial menu and just go straight to the actual menu. And I'm like, oh, this is a lot easier than they were making it out to be.
Hmm.
But that's just maybe me. But yeah, this is like a good looking game.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thing with this game, because there's just been so many that kind of look like this, right? Um, if you just visited like the Steam page and you just like looked at the gameplay real quick, you'd be like, all right, I've seen a million games that kind of look like this. Like this one's just in the vampire kind of theme, that kind of gothic sort of theme. But um I think that once you start to play it a little bit more, you start to appreciate a little bit more of the art styles. Even like the some of the environments are pretty cool in the game. You have your companion characters and all the different characters are like well done, especially you have when you talk to certain characters, it kind of shows like a larger image of them. Like that's all good. There's cool like particle effect kind of things that happen with different abilities and different things you unlock. But I agree, like the weirdest thing is this board game piece um aesthetic that I it makes total sense in on, like, the board where you're choosing your path, and I feel like I've seen that in other games where, like, you're like a board game piece when you're choosing your path or choosing, the next area to go into, but then when you actually go in the world, you're not the board game piece anymore. So, I was kind of anticipating that, like, there would be maybe, like, some sort of, like, space for me to, like, go into, right? So, like,
Hmm.
I'm a board game piece, and maybe some of these points of interest, you, like, lock into a space, right? Like, it's like a circle on the ground that you, like, fit into, and then that, like, locks you in for some sort of event or some sort of, like, reward, whatever it might be. I kinda figured that there would be maybe a little bit more, gameplay elements, like, it feels like in the levels, it's just kinda random that you and the enemies are like these board game pieces. So, kinda interesting. I also don't know, like, maybe this was a development choice because now they don't need to animate all the frames and all the different animations that these creatures would have and that you would have. Instead, they can, you just kind of hop around as like a board game piece. Maybe it was like a time saving sort of thing, which again, when I mentioned in the gameplay, like, it didn't take away from like the gameplay. I didn't really, you end up kind of ignoring it because you're still kind of playing a survivor like at the end of the day. But I just thought it would be in like the gameplay elements would be a little bit more incorporated with like why I'm a board game piece. And maybe, yeah, maybe they do explain it at some point during the story, but it just seems a little bit weird from the beginning, that is the kind of style that you're in, especially since like I feel like none of the descriptions of the game like mention like, oh, you're a forgotten board game piece. There's no like
Hmm.
lore that I saw at least behind it. So that's the only thing from the art standpoint where I'm like, it's a little weird, that there's nothing that kind of synergizes with you being a board game piece. It's just kind of like you are one. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think like the art is fine. I think they do a good job when you actually play the game. You start to appreciate it, but that's the only weird thing for me as well. Is why is that the case? In terms of the UI, I think that um, I don't know. I feel like some of the UI could be improved a bit. Um, I also found the tutorial things to be a little odd, as well. But even like choosing upgrades, things of that nature, I don't know. I feel like they could be a little bit bigger, maybe, and like I don't know,
Hmm.
just be a little bit more um easier to understand, like if you didn't have to read anything, right? I feel like a lot of these survivor life games, when there is a choice you need to make, it's easy to determine like, okay, like I think of Sworn, right? Sworn does such a good job of like, oh, I'm upgrading purple or upgrading green, right? So you don't
Hmm.
even really need to know what it's called. You just need to know the color. I feel like this game could do a little bit better job of that. Um, in terms of the upgrades, I kind of found myself like, I'd be reading a power up and I'd be like, "Oh, I have this one. I'm gonna upgrade it." When I feel like maybe you should even like highlight that a little bit more to be like, "You already own this one." I don't know, just like small things here and there that like, again, I don't think they take away from my enjoyment of the game, but like just kind of fine tuning the art a little bit there. to make it a little bit more, just I almost feel like catering to like console, even though this is only on Steam. That would be like catering to like console players or like Steam Deck players. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts on the art, though. I don't think there's anything that like was egregious. It's just small things here and there that kind of made me wonder.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is like interesting. It's just like why
Yeah,
that, and but
yeah,
hey, listen, it could be just like, hey, maybe it just grabs people. You're just like, oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
weird. Like, if I watched this like for a brief moment, I would have been like, is this a board game? Game?
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's not now. In terms of the sound and the music, the soundtrack's great. It just it kind of rips, just baroque, like gothic themes. Feels like you're in a vampiric castle. Uh, Other than that, like I think the sound effects are fine. The voice acting's good, although I guess allegedly, not allegedly, they've said it, but like they use some AI for the
Mhm.
voiceovers. I don't know how much. It didn't seem like too egregious by listening to it. You can usually like tell when like the inflections aren't really there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe they dubbed it and then enhanced it. But for the most part, the music though was kind of great because I was playing it last night while I was watching the football game, and I would take a moment and just like watch like a few plays of the football game and just be listening to the music in the background. I was like, oh, this sounds great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they do a great job there for sure.
Yeah, agreed. I really like the music here. I think I was also kind of jamming to it at certain points. Um, Interesting about the AI. I did not know about that. And I feel like, I, we've talked a lot about AI on the show. And I do think that like a lot of these pushes to use AI are misguided because they're being kind of used for like creative endeavors. And like I feel like it
Hmm.
should be for something else. Like I feel like AI would be more useful for other things. But at the same time, if you're a really small studio, right? I can understand leaning on it a little bit if you're like, okay, well this will make our game better in terms of the vision we had for it, and we don't have the funds to pay someone. But I also do think they have to understand there will be a certain amount of backlash with that, especially
Yeah.
because Steam has to, or they have a policy, I guess, to call out whenever AI is used in a game. So you'll always see at the bottom of the description, like, if it was used to make assets or voiceovers or however it was kind of used, where I feel like they could get some backlash for that. There's another, I mean, Arc Raiders, just as an example, is obviously a really popular game that uses AI voices, but I think they do it in the right way because they did pay voice actors to record lines. And then they have a system in the game where when you talk through the microphone, you can choose a different voice for you to sound like. So obviously there'd
Okay.
be no way for like a voice actor to like,
Hmm.
what are they going to record every type of sentence ever? Like using AI for that, I think is fine because I think hopefully they still get paid, maybe in perpetuity. I don't know, but um, with a game like this where like that's not the case, right? It's just like the dialogues that you have with the different characters. I can understand the backlash for it if there is any. I haven't really seen people bring it up because, the game's not out yet, but, um, uh, but I also do understand from the development standpoint that maybe they just don't have the funds for it. So I don't know, it's an interesting conversation where like, um, there are people out there that will not touch like this game because they used AI a little bit, right?
Hmm.
But then I feel like they're like someone like me, I'm like, well, if it's a good game, I'm not gonna hate on the game because they used AI a little bit because maybe they didn't have the funds for it and, whatever it might be. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's interesting conversation. I feel like I don't know. Do you have a different view on like them using it in this game?
Well,
Because
it's
yeah,
so tough, right? Like I think the hardest thing is right because you mentioned like Steam has the AI generated content disclosures anytime it's used, and the devs are asked to describe how, and it's just a little blurb. It says we use AI generated voiceovers in parts of the game to help bring more life to the characters. So like, what does that mean? How much was it? Like, you know, I think like you can find it's kind of interesting. I think you can find like halfway decent like voiceovers, like artists on or like actors on like Fiverr, right? Was it like at that point are you really sacrificing that much
Yeah.
money to still have to disclose that? I'm not sure. What were they already voiced over and you use it to enhance that? Like because surely sound mixing is a very hard thing to do, and that is the thing. It's just hard to say. We don't have enough information,
Yeah.
right? So if that's it, like it's not the end of the world, but like obviously, I mean, like to me, it sounded pretty human, like the voiceovers.
Yeah.
So like I'm wondering how much it was actually used. But it's not something I'm gonna get hung up on, right? Obviously, I want opportunities out there for people like like there's people like on Fiverr that will just voice over like all the time, and that's just what they want to do.
Hmm.
So like it's out there. So my guess is that it was used to enhance things rather than to replace things. So, but it's hard to
Yeah.
say, right? Like we
It
don't know.
is. Yeah, I feel like we're gonna like next year, maybe the year after, most of the games that we play will probably have some sort of AI disclosure on them, even if,
Mm,
because even if they just use it for like one thing, they have to
yeah.
like disclose it on Steam. So I feel like there's going to be this like trend of like indie devs that are like, we didn't use AI at all, right? And they're going to be like champion because of that. So it's gonna be interesting. Like as people that like review games, right? We try to just review it for like the face value of the game,
Hmm.
and not like the history of the dev or like the tools they use. But I feel like it's going to end up being a talking point for us when we play those games that don't use AI at all, and maybe we're able to really see the difference when you don't use AI versus when you do. Um, so yeah, interesting stuff. Curious to know what the juice heads, what you guys out there think about AI usage, because I see some wild comments on some, not from the juice heads, but just from some people that like if there's any sniff of AI anywhere, they're like, fuck this game, I hope they drown. Like all like oh my God. Like, so I feel like we gotta have like a civil discussion on like the impact of this because it's coming whether we like it or not. It's gonna happen. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I even, I mean, this is kind of a tangent, but like I saw a guy on TikTok who is starting a like I don't even know what you would call it, but like a certificate company that like his company will just go through and give a stamp of approval, human made by humans, right?
Oh,
Because
interesting.
like there's becoming an increasing issue on Spotify right now with like these just fake artists
Yeah.
that are getting and then just getting put in like all these I mean Spotify's kind of evil anyway because they don't pay their artists, but like they're getting put into these playlists and like all of a sudden money's just going to like some other company that just made a song with
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
and like just mixed it a little bit.
There was that
So
country song that like hit the
it's
top
like
of
the
the
number one.
charts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all
It's like
AI.
crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah. So like there's going to be a push and shove of it all. I mean, from what I could tell, I mean, like obviously the content disclosure was pretty minimal. So
Yeah.
it's like weird. If I felt like they needed to lean on it, it would have been a lot of different things, right? But we don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of
But
the day, after all that being said, we don't know.
we don't know.
Yeah.
Gonna assume gonna give them the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Yeah.
But moving on to performance, it all performed pretty well for me. How about you?
Yeah, same here. Did you just play on PC or you on the deck or
Just on PC in my
okay.
office, not on the deck.
Okay. Yeah,
But
same. Just yeah, not out, yeah, not outside on the deck. You love that joke. Yeah. um
uh,
yeah, I just played on PC and I actually streamed it through the Steam link and like played on the TV downstairs with controller, because I think it technically says it has partial controller support. Worked totally fine with controller
Yeah.
for me. So yeah, no issues on my side.
Yeah. And that will bring us to our rating. Our rating system is as follows. If this is your first time listening, our best games are Certified Fresh Juice, followed by A Steal, then Get on Sale, and then Manager Special, and then finally Spoiled Milk. So those are your S, A, B, C, and D tiers. And Night Swarm, to me, early impression here, before it's even released, is I think it's a strong steal. I don't think that this is really creeping into the certified fresh juice territory. It's one of those games that I just had a good time playing. I don't think I was blown away by a lot of it. Some of the artistic choices were interesting, but the gameplay loop was fun. It's very expansive. There's a lot to do in it. I think
Mm-hmm.
it is like a really good value. Like if you like this kind of game and you want more of like RPG elements in your Survivor like. I think this is a good one. And yeah, I think most people that like this genre will be pretty happy with it. I know that there's some fatigue with this genre, but I think this one's fresh enough,
Hey,
juicy enough that it might be a steal for you as well. So that's where I'm at.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm giving this a steal. Honestly, this would have been more of an on sale if they didn't kind of like do those innovations really with like the survivor like genre, where you know you kind of have the time limited levels and the different paths you can take and the companions. Like I think that they tried out some new things that I've never had before in the genre, so that bumps it up to a steal. But yeah, I agree. It also just feels really familiar, so I can't really put it in the certified fresh juice category because I feel like those are games for me that really like, you know, they make a big impression. But I do think Night Swarm is well executed, and yeah, there are some strange artistic choices that they've made. But I think if you're a Survivor like fan and you want something a little bit new, a little bit different, Night Swarm will probably satisfy that. And plus, it's $10, and it might even be on sale. We're not sure for the launch, so I think it's worth trying out if you're into these kind of games and you want something a little spicier, a little bit different than what you might be used to. So giving it a steal.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Always on the same page, except when we're not.
Yep.
Now, we do have some listener questions. As I've said before, these come from the Juicehead Discord,
Yeah.
if you could believe it. Also, next week we're doing Moonlighter 2, which I know there's a decent amount of hype around that as well. So stay tuned for next week. First question comes from Bags, who asks, "Do chickens have large talons?"
Yes, they do. Napoleon Dynamite. Um, yeah, sure, they do. I'm gonna just say they do. Compared to what? I don't know. Compared to a chick? Compared to a turtle? I have no idea. But yeah, sure.
Here's a question. I'm not even going to answer that one. I'm going to talk about Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
Is that a certified fresh juice to you in terms of a movie?
No, it's not.
No.
It's probably like a low steel maybe. Like there that
Okay.
I think Napoleon Dynamite for me is like I can only watch it every now and then kind of thing because I'm like I know everything that happens, but there are some funny moments in the movie, but it's you know it's an acquired taste that
Yeah,
movie.
cult
I feel like
classic.
yeah. What about you? You put it in the
I think
certified
the first time I saw it was on sale, and then as I grew
Napoleon
older, I
Dynamite?
understood. Yeah.
Okay, it was on sale. Oh, okay.
No,
Right,
first time
the
I saw it, it
rating.
was like an on sale
Okay, I was
rating,
like, it was on sale?
and then I grew to appreciate it to a point of it's like a steal.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I know some people just like really love that movie. I was wondering where you stood.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Crixon, who asked this question through Bags and wouldn't go into our Discord and ask it himself because he's a coward. How many feet, as in 12 inches, in hot dogs do you think you've consumed over your lifetime?
All right. Well, if we break down the math, I'm gonna just say like a hot dog is like 6 inches, right? On average, probably.
Yeah,
Probably, right?
probably.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
average? That's a
On
way
average, yeah.
above. I'd say that's like
Yeah.
and then how many hot dogs do I have a year? Um I don't know. 10?
Okay, it's low.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I mean,
just
I guess that may be high for some people.
yeah. I mean, well, not yeah, not having 10 a week, Tom. No, I don't know, 10 to 15. So let's just say 10. And then what am I? 32. Probably started eating hot dogs. I don't know. When I was 10, no, younger than that. 7. How many years is that? We're going to calculate it right now. 32 divided by or minus 7. I don't know when I started eating. 25. 25 times 10, 250 hot dogs. 250 divided by 12, 20,
Mm-hmm.
almost 21 feet, maybe. It's probably more than that, but I'm just being conservative. So I don't know, 21 feet of hot dogs. You definitely are like, probably like
You
double
think
that.
in your lifetime you've had 21 feet? Oh, wait, wait, yeah, okay, wait.
I
Sure,
mean,
that's true.
I'm lowballing it. It's probably maybe more like 50 feet, but I
Okay.
really lowballed it. Like 10, because like, when I'm like 7, I'm not having 10 hot dogs a year, I don't think.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think my hot dog eating was like higher when I was a kid.
You think so? Okay.
I hit a lull in hot dog consumption maybe in high school,
Okay.
and then we ramped it back up in college.
You had to make up for lost time.
Yeah. My guess is a football field, 300 feet.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could
yeah.
see that. Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're right. Yeah. It's more
that's
like
like
that.
20 hot dogs a year on average. Um, 20 since I was like 3, right? I kind of just was like, okay, maybe that was when the hot dogs started flowing, right?
Yep.
And like, I don't think it's that crazy. Like there in like summers, like a peak hot dog time.
Mhm.
Like I'm definitely between Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July. I'm having probably 9 to 10 hot dogs,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You're right.
And then yeah, so
Yeah.
that's my guess.
Okay.
But I'll get back to you guys with real numbers.
Start tracking it a whole year, and
Yeah.
then you just average that out.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Good question.
Um, Good question, Brown. Next question comes from Capolo. What are your favorite winter themed video games?
My favorite winter themed video games. Cast and chill. No.
Hmm.
I. It's tough because like I feel like I'm not really playing games that are like the whole winter theme. Like sometimes there's like when it's winter time, they do like winter events, maybe something like that. A game I've been wanting to play for a while is The Long Dark, which is set in winter, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I've played like, obviously like Animal Crossing in the winter's cool.
Yeah.
Um, I played like Steep is cool. That's like that I played it a while ago, but it's, like snowboarding and all that stuff. It's like this big open world with other players and it's just kind of like a casual sort of game. That was fun. Um I don't know. I'm having trouble thinking of like winter themed games that I've played. I really liked The Division. I think the first one had like a survival mode, which I
Mm-hmm.
really liked, obviously. And it was like you were really in like this crazy blizzard, and there's like other players. You could see like 10 feet in front of you. You had to like survive and go in the buildings and all that stuff and find food. That's one I really enjoyed, but it wasn't like a whole winter themed kind of game. Um, I actually did see just real quick. There is a game coming out. that like is trying to recapture the nostalgia of like hanging up Christmas lights in like the 90s and the early 2000s. And you just kind of, you're like a little character, you go around the town, you're just decorating. That is a really cool vibe for a game. I forget what it's called, but anything jump into your head, Tom, for winter theme games?
So, SSX Tricky,
Ooh, SSX, yeah.
Wild Frost, which was that deck builder I played, Celeste for sure.
Mm,
If we're getting to the nitty gritty, the a couple of the levels in Mario 64, especially where you can
oh
throw
yeah.
the penguin off, um, that was always a good time. What else? Golly.
No, it's tough. It's
Um,
tough to think about like winter themed
yeah, I
games.
think that's like that is pretty much it. I
Like,
I, I
yeah,
like I don't know. Wild Frost is a good one. Slush is a great one. Like, sir, I mean, I never played Ice Climbers really, but I like playing as the Ice Climbers in Super Smash Bros.
yeah. Actually, the Division One was set in winter because it was Christmas time. So I guess that would be it because I had a lot of good time with
Alright,
that. New Spider-Man, Miles Morales, I think was winter too. I don't know. It's hard.
sounds
It's hard.
good.
Like in those games, I don't like recognize it's winter, right? I'm just like, oh, this is just the theme. But yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, good
winter.
question.
Yeah,
We had a couple. Art
yeah.
Carb comes in and asks snowball fight or sledding? Choose
Ooh,
one.
oh, I like sledding more.
Yeah.
I'd say, especially trying to stand up on your sled going down, and you see how long you can last, and then you fall and it hurts a lot more now. But sledding, oh, definitely. Snowball fights are fine, but like I'm good with them for like a few minutes, and I'm like, all right, let's get back to sledding.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, especially like you get a really good hill. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, I mean, nothing's better than a good hill. You
You
know?
got that right.
Yeah,
I haven't. Yeah, yeah. I miss sledding. I don't miss snowball fights. So
yeah, yeah.
that is definitely what I would pick. Kmore asks, "What kind of jingle would need to be sung to summon one of you like a State Farm commercial?"
Hmm. What kind of jingle?
So if somebody, for me,
Yeah, go ahead.
if somebody like came up with a jingle that was like they wanted to summon me, but probably not in a good way. If they were like, blue cheese really sucks. And I was like, poof, what? Bam!
Then just
Punch
disappear.
them in the noggin.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Um, maybe for me it'd be like if someone was like, "Man, I really wish Mr. Beast was here," and I just, well, I was close as you're gonna get. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. Um, but I don't know. A jingle.
That'd be a fun commercial for like somebody who's like, "This is what happens when you don't go with the best or
Yeah,
whatever."
yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
"You get cheap knockoffs."
yeah. Give me your money. I just start robbing them. Uh, yeah, that's good.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's
But I don't
good.
know. That's the jingle, I guess, for me.
Yeah. Good question. Great
Yeah.
questions, everybody. Same time next week. Sounds good to me. Let's go
Beautiful.
down to the rec room and then say goodbye. A rec room is where we recommend something that perhaps is not an indie game, but this week I am recommending an indie game. Holder of Place. I was telling you about this over the weekend at Friendsgiving, but this is a auto battler game that I just was watching some YouTubers play. I'm like, this looks cool. The vibe is like spooky and like atmospheric. The music sounds like a lot of the ambient dark music that I'll listen to.
Yeah.
And the auto battler is good. It's like it's fun. Like the the I guess like the synergies are pretty like cool to like figure out and see. Looks really neat. I like the art style. And yeah, I don't know. A little auto battler. I was playing it the other night and having a good time.
Yeah. No, it definitely looks pretty cool. It's got a sick art style. Um, that's for sure. I like how it's so like simplistic, like the UI, it doesn't see
Hmm.
like it seems like there's a good amount of strategy involved, but like it's easy to kind of like figure out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so cool. I have to check it out. Holder of place. The interesting name,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah. Placeholder, holder of place.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe
but
that's what they were going for.
maybe. Yeah, maybe they were like, man, they just had like placeholder as the name. Like, man, we got to come up with a name for this game. Some guys just like holder of place, man. They're like, that's it. Uh,
Easy.
but yeah, it looks really cool, for sure. And only like $7 right now. Um, from my rec room, I'm recommending something I also learned about at Friendsgiving from our friend Vin, who this is like a new Steam feature. It's a Steam calendar. It's a Steam personal calendar. So if you go to like, I don't know how to actually find it within Steam itself, but you can find it on the website. I'm sure there's a way to find it within Steam itself because it's just, the web browser basically. But if you go to like store.steampower.com/personal calendar, one word, which I guess I have to sign in for this. So I'm not signed in right now. But basically, what it is, it will show you games that have released this past month. You can like filter it by like your like tags. So I could be like, oh, I want to see all survival games, right? I think you can hide like games you already own, all that sort of stuff. But it'll show you like a calendar of games that came out the past month, games that came out the last 7 days, and then upcoming games and when they're coming out. And it shows you kind of like a calendar view. That's just been really helpful for me, like trying to make content. I'm like, all right, this week, what games am I making videos on? Oh, these are coming out. Let me make videos on these games. But could just be really helpful. I've seen a lot of people like, because I was doing some Googling around this to see like, what are people saying about it? And a lot of people like, they basically, their libraries are so huge, their wish lists are so huge, they kind of lose track, right? Like it's happened with us where we're just like, oh, I didn't realize that was coming out already. So
Hmm.
hopefully they make it maybe a little bit more front and center in the Steam app where there's like a calendar tab maybe or something like that, where you can see like the upcoming games. But yeah, just a cool little Steam feature I want to rec because I've been using it the past few days. And I think it's kind of like I was surprised they didn't already have something like this on Steam. So check it out. Make sure you're signed in, and then you can see your calendar of upcoming games and all that good stuff. So
Sounds good to me.
there we go.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
You know what else sounds good to me?
What?
Maddie, saying goodbye. You can find me on all socials at Fresh Buds Pod. I have another podcast called Fresh and Buds, talk about a game called Flesh and Blood. You can find us on all socials at Fresh Juice Pod. And where can people find you, Matt?
Find me at Matty Gorm, Gorm, on all the socials other than Instagram. Matty Gorm YT over there. Been posting over on there as well, doing a lot of shorts, TikTok kind of videos on a bunch of different survival games. So if you're looking for, what to play next, check out the channels. Maybe I'll post something that you're interested in.
Amen.
Yeah.
Stay fresh.